Hello and welcome everyone to the MH Scott Workplace Wellbeing podcast. I'm Sonia Last and I'm here with my colleagues Angela Rook, our training facilitator and positive psychology consultant, and Claire Mackenzie from Venturing Out, who is our partner in the Thrive and Connect team building wellness program. A very warm welcome to both of you.
Lovely to be here, Sonia. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's great to be here too, Sonia. Thanks for having me.
Terrific. Today we're going to do a deep dive into the world of employee wellness and unpack the most critical trends that are reshaping how organizations support their most valuable assets, which of course are their people. And to start us off, Angela, we're hearing the phrase well-being revolution popping up in workplace discussions. What's it all about and why is it something that we need to be paying attention to now?
Sure. We have been talking about wellness at work for many years, and organizations have tried to implement different strategies over the years to enhance employee well-being. However, some of those strategies might not necessarily be the priority of the business. And unfortunately, well-being was sometimes seen as a buzzword or simply perks and policies. But I think things might have shifted a lot since the pandemic. The well-being revolution refers to the shift from focusing primarily on managing the negative impacts of mental health conditions to proactively adopting a preventive approach to promoting well-being and building resilience in the workplace. Essentially, psychological and cognitive skills such as creative thinking, curiosity, resilience, flexibility, agility, motivation, and self-awareness are not only skills of the future, but they are also the protective factors for well-being and performance. The good news here is these are learnable skills that we can enhance through practice. Therefore, there is a strong case for organizations to support their workforce in acquiring these skills and prepare them for rapid change and transformation at work and in society in general. In fact, findings from the Future of Wellbeing report by Deloitte reveals that 74% of employees prioritize well-being over career progression, and 85% of executives believe organizations should be required to publicly report their workforce well-being metrics. The report goes further to highlight that when mental health initiatives are done well, they could return over £5 per £1 spent, and even up to £7.30 for organization-wide initiatives. In other words, well-being is no longer a nice-to-have, but a business critical imperative. I mean, the impact of well-being on the bottom line should not be underestimated.
That makes so much sense, especially with what we've seen post-pandemic. I guess the question is then, how do we reimagine employee well-being and redefine what it means to thrive at work?
Such a good question, Sonia. I think it starts by really listening to what people actually need right now. Well-being isn't a one-size-fits-all anymore. It's about creating workplaces where people feel safe, connected, and supported in a way that works for them. To thrive at work these days means having purpose, a bit of flexibility, and knowing it's okay to talk about how you're doing. It's about making well-being part of the everyday, not just something we rule out once a year.
Indeed, Angela. And with that in mind, what does workplace wellness actually look like in 2025? Are we still talking beanbags and smoothie bars, or have we moved beyond that now?
So, corporate wellness trends for 2025 focus on adopting a holistic approach to employee health. Well-being strategies are going to be more employee-led and more tailored to individual needs through wellness technology. This approach will also help address sustainability, inclusion, and diversity in wellness programs.
Yes, and you mentioned the idea of a holistic approach. Can you talk us through what that really means in practice? And what areas are we actually covering when we say holistic?
Sure. So the four core wellness dimensions include mental, physical, social, and financial. But there is an emerging fifth dimension, which is spiritual wellness. In terms of the mental dimension of wellness, mental health is going to take center stage. Companies are recognizing that mental well-being is as important as physical health in ensuring overall employee productivity. So, for example, in addition to offering stress management and burnout prevention workshops and providing access to employee assistance programs, we noticed that our clients are putting more emphasis on training mental health first aiders within their organizations, as well as providing ongoing support for those first aiders. This trend indicates that organizations are working hard to remove stigmas around mental health by normalizing open conversations and providing resources tailored to diverse employee needs.
I love that mental health has been given equal importance to physical health now. And Claire, coming over to you, your work at Venturing Out focuses so much on outdoor activities, which I imagine is brilliant for both physical and mental health. Can you tell us a bit more about how you've seen outdoor activities play a role in workplace well-being and wellness?
Hi, Sonia. Yes, absolutely. So, participating in outdoor activities can have a huge mental health and well-being benefit. We see that participating in outdoor activities is not just about the activity itself, but it also is a conduit to positive mental health and well-being. We use outdoor activities to offer new and challenging experiences employees out of their comfort zones, but whilst they're in a safe and a supportive environment. Being outdoors and active definitely can encourage creative thinking, and it opens up minds to new ideas and to fresh perspectives. It also offers an opportunity for teams to bond away from the pressures of the work environment, and also a way to learn different things about their own and others' strengths and weaknesses. Everyone has to work as part of a team during the outdoor activities to achieve a common goal, and we find that team cohesion that's built in a non-work context, like outdoor activities, often translates well back into the office in terms of how teams work together. So we work with many groups using outdoor activities as a means of bringing people together to do something that is just a little bit different from the norm. And many people report that it is far easier to take part in activities alongside someone rather than meeting over a coffee or being in a social setting in team days or even on nights out.
That's really brilliant. And do you have any examples you can tell us about of a team you've worked with, perhaps recently, that captures the kind of impact you're talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. We can look at the work that we have been doing in what we call the adventure wellbeing space, where we use outdoor activities to bring groups of people together who would benefit from social connection, from being in a trusted and safe environment, and participating in activities that push them slightly out their comfort zones and also build resilience. We use this model with a group of adult carers that we work with and have created a group that has gone far beyond the traditional sort of support group. People feel that for the first time they can do an activity that just doesn't require them to talk about their problems, that simply being alongside others who know what they're going through and who get them is enough for them. The peer-to-peer support element is flourishing with this project, and it is growing year on year, and with people using this kind of an alternative approach to support.
Yes, that's really powerful, Claire. And it strikes me this must build social connections too, which brings us on to the social dimension of wellness. Claire, can you talk to us a bit about why that's so important in the workplace, especially these days?
Social wellness is increasingly recognised as a key component of employee health. It is about leveraging human connections to build a protective workplace environment where team members feel more able to manage adverse emotions, cope with uncertainty, and bounce back from challenges. In a supportive, collaborative, and psychologically safe environment, employees find that they are more likely to thrive. Research shows that stronger social connections leads to happier, healthier, and more cohesive teams. And it also promotes a sense of belonging. It can improve interpersonal relationships among employees and can also build resilience. It also reduces negative experiences of stress and anxiety at an individual level, with social interactions helping to reduce feelings of isolation and combats loneliness. In fact, fostering strong connections is good for health, and it is definitely good for business. Prioritising social connections is essential for creating high-performing teams within organisations, and we find that this can be done through things like team building activities, which are group events that strengthen relationships and promote collaboration, by offering volunteer opportunities, which is encouraging employees to give back to their communities together, and also recognising inclusive celebrations. So this is recognising diverse cultural holidays and organising company-wide celebrations.
Thank you, Claire. And Angela, one of the things that we know can have a huge knock-on effect on mental health is financial stress. How big an issue is this right now? And should it really be part of a workplace well-being strategy?
There's no doubt that economic challenges and rising living costs have highlighted the importance of financial health as part of corporate wellness. In fact, there's a cyclical relationship between financial stress and mental health. A report by the Money and Mental Health Policy Institute shows that people with mental health problems, as compared to those without mental health conditions, are 3 times more likely to be behind on at least one key payment, 8 times more likely to say they have had suicidal thoughts or feelings in the last 16 months due to rising costs, and nearly 3 times more likely to have felt anxious, unable to cope, or dread about receiving communication about overdue payments in the past 3 months. So there is a strong case for including financial wellness in a mental health strategy.
Yeah, it's shocking, the figures and the statistics on this. So practically speaking then, what can employers actually do about it? Can you give us a few suggestions of what might be done?
Sure. So to help employees achieve financial stability and peace of mind, organization can provide training and services such as financial literacy program, budgeting workshops, economic resilience training, financial planning tools such as the ones for retiring planning and debt management. Employers can also provide financial counseling services and student loan assistance programs. These are some examples I can think on top of my head.
Brilliant. So we've covered the mental, physical, social, and financial. Angela, you also mentioned a fifth dimension that's starting to get more traction in the workplace, which is spiritual wellness. Can you explain what that means in a workplace context?
Absolutely. So spiritual wellness doesn't necessarily imply religious practices, but rather a focus on mindfulness, purposeful living, and recognizing the interconnectedness of mind, body, and nature. So practical techniques for improving spiritual wellness include meditation, mindfulness, and gratitude practices, as well as stress reduction techniques. These activities also stimulate brain health, which is another aspect of well-being sometimes mentioned in the workplace.
I love that. It feels like mindfulness and purpose are things that people are craving more these days. And something that comes up at quite a few of our MH Scott network events is the challenge of having a mix of generations in the workforce. Angela, how do you think this multi-generational workforce impacts the way organizations approach well-being?
In my view, there are 2 key elements to consider here. On one hand, millennials and Gen Z are driving wellness conversations with an emphasis on corporate social responsibility, ethical and sustainable business practices, and meaningful social impact. On the other hand, the concept of active aging is reshaping employee wellness, promoting physical wellness initiatives to support the health and vitality of the aging workforce. Therefore, encouraging team building exercise, social events, and community involvement promotes a sense of belonging and improve interpersonal relationships among employees despite the age differences. And I think companies aligning with this shift of priority in employee well-being is going to have an advantage in attracting and retaining talent.
Thank you, Angela. And Claire, do you find outdoor activities can help to bridge those generation gaps? And how might it work in practice?
Yes, taking part in outdoor activities can really help to bridge the age gap in organisations. Activities can be very accessible and can also be done at a variety of different levels. There may be some quite physical elements to tasks, but at the same time, elements that require critical thinking and problem solving. Team building exercises provide a setting whereby people can come together of all ages, take part, learn from each other, build respect, and most of all, have fun.
Yes, that's brilliant, Claire. Before we wrap up, I have to mention AI. And while it's making life easier in some ways, people are really worried that it might be replacing the human side of things. Angela, how do you see AI supporting human-centered well-being strategies in the workplace?
Yes, you're right. I mean, AI is everywhere at the moment. From my point of view, it is an exciting time for wellness technology. AI-driven wellness insights are going to make wellness initiatives and programs more engaging and accessible. So this year, we're expecting advancement in wearable devices which integrate with wellness platforms, AI-driven personalization, wellness planning, and an uptick in virtual wellness platforms. For example, apps offering yoga, meditation, and fitness classes will continue to gain popularity. On the flip side, organizations also need to recognize and promote the importance of digital detoxing, for example, mindfulness practices and outdoor physical activities, and provide training and support for stress management in a hyper-connected world.
Yes, it's good to hear that there's a balance being struck and that there is a case for using AI to support well-being. Um, but before we finished, I'd love to ask both of you for your top three practical takeaways for any organization listening today. If they want to make a start on improving well-being in their workplace, where should they begin? Angela, let's start with you.
Absolutely. There are three things organizations should consider when developing or implementing wellness initiatives. First is to take a preventive approach with employee well-being. One way to do this is by building resilience and team cohesion in your workforce. I think this is going to be the key for long-term sustainable employee well-being. For example, invest in training which combines the different elements of the five core dimensions of wellness we talked about earlier. Also, burnout prevention is another top priority, which includes stress management workshops, flexible work arrangements, and mental health resources, such as providing information on self-care strategies. The second point would be to embrace the power of technology. AI is going to play an increasing role in enhancing employee well-being through data-driven insights. So explore and invest in wellness technology to help track the overall organization wellness trends and focus on proactive interventions. And the third thing is power to the people. What I mean by this is that Wellbeing Champions is an effective outlet for employee voice on issues that impact well-being. They provide an important link between business and employees. So invest in nurturing and supporting well-being champions and making sure they have appropriate training on mental health and well-being related topics.
Fabulous, Angela. Thank you. And Claire, what would your top three recommendations be in this regard?
Yeah, from my point of view, the interconnected wellness approach is a big one. Employee wellbeing is no longer siloed within one department. Cross-functional wellness strategies are paramount to the long-term success of organisational wellbeing initiatives. Organisation-wide wellness ecosystem needs to take into consideration the needs of multi-generational workforce and move beyond traditional wellness perks to create meaningful employee experiences. For example, run cross-departmental wellbeing and team building events to help break down silos, improve team communications, and also build trust. My second point would be role modelling positive behaviours is key to creating a culture where well-being can be truly embraced. So, leaders first. What I mean by this is that proactive interventions must start with equipping leaders with the psychological skills that they need for resilience, adaptability, and optimal performance. Psychologically informed leaders create psychologically informed environments. And lastly, with workplaces becoming increasingly digitally remote, disconnection and miscommunication are real issues that are hard to overcome through traditional team building methods. So taking part in full days of outdoor activities with a wide range of colleagues can offer the opportunity for vital social connections and the ability to connect on a much deeper level. When you're faced with challenging situations, you support each other, you encourage each other and learn a lot about your colleagues, way more than you would on a Zoom catch-up or over a team lunch. You don't ever come away from a day of adventurous outdoor activities without new connections or without a deeper understanding of the people that you have been with, and we find that these new connections last far beyond that day. Shared experiences are invaluable to connection.
That's brilliant advice and valuable insights from both of you. Thank you. Wellness then clearly isn't just a program or policy anymore. It's about embedding a culture that recognizes our shared humanity, it values connection, and creates the conditions for people to truly thrive. And on that note, a quick mention. MH Scott and Venturing Out have teamed up to create our Thrive and Connect wellness program, which brings together everything we've been talking about today, such as wellness sessions, mindful practices, outdoor activities, and yes, MH Scott even offers financial well-being workshops too. So if any of you would like to know more about anything we've covered today, please do get in touch. And thank you all for listening. In closing, we'd like to wish you all a really healthy and happy week ahead.